Welcome to episode 2 of the week. This is episode 2 of Car Conversation with Cloyed. I'd like to welcome you. I hope that you are doing good. Hope you're doing good. That you're healthy and you're doing well. That is definitely my prayer, considering everything that's going on with COVID-19 and the coronavirus. And so, if this is your first time watching, this is the second episode for this week. We try to do an episode a week, and additionally, with that, this is something that kind of came to me one day, just kind of speaking with God. And so I hope that you've been enjoying it. This is your first time. We tackle everything from political things to religion and Christianity to empowerment and encouragement and faith. And so what I want to talk about this week is what I learned from Cisco. What I learned from Cisco is how to bet on yourself. I think that a lot of times we don't bet on ourselves, and also we don't operate as we're our own brand. This has a lot to do with people in the employment that are actually in the 9-to-5 employment realm, not necessarily those entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs already have to bet on yourself. You already have to teach yourself like you're your own brand. But these are some things that I learned over the years, and what I learned over at Cisco is how to truly bet on yourself, how to treat yourself like your own man. And so I begin to think about some things as I'm pursuing different avenues, and I'm pursuing to grow in my human resources career. And one of the things that I thought about is that every job has a probationary period. Every job, they have some type of probationary period. For some people it's 30 days, some people it's 90 days. For some people, like you work for the state of North Carolina, it's a year. And oftentimes we look at that as a probationary period only for the job, in the sense that the job gets to see whether you're a good fit. And many times we do not take the time to think about the fact is that this probationary time is also a time to see if the job is a good fit for us. Like, I think that we sometimes, especially when we really need a job, we get the job, and I understand that. Trust me, I definitely understand it, and I learned that even from working for Cisco and working for a contractor with Cisco, which was Sell by Tell, and I needed a job more than I needed to be choosy and selective, and that's just the reality of it. And it's not to say that I didn't learn anything, that it wasn't great, that it was a blessing for that time. And I think it ran its course literally because shortly after I left Sell by Tell, our contracted from the position I was in ended. So that's that. But what I wanted to say is that just because you need a job or that you have this job doesn't mean that you can't look at yourself as your own company, as your own brand, and to realize that the job is on probation too. You can use those 30 days, those 60 days, those 90 days, those 365 days to see if the job is a good fit for you, and you should. Just because you do the job well and they're happy with your work does not mean that that job is a good fit for you. And the challenge with this is that we have never been taught to look at it like that. We have to look at ourselves as our own company. I am Cloyed Brown Incorporated. You are, insert your name, Incorporated. And you are your own company. You have to also take into consideration. You should be taking notes. You should be seeing if this company is a good fit for you, because better believe that every company, as you're there, they're trying to see if you're a good fit. That is the probationary period. So in North Carolina, it's called being at will. And so North Carolina is an at-will state, and so employers, so in certain positions, it's an at-will position, which means that you can leave at any time without giving any kind of notice, and they can let you go at any time without giving you notice. They don't have to. Everything else out of that is courtesy. Now, in the state, if you're working a state job, the first year, if you're not a transfer, if you're not a transfer that has transferred within 30 days, if it's been more than 31 days, you're also going to be on probationary. on probationary status, excuse me. Whenever I start talking, that's when I start yawning. But then you'll be on probationary status. And so with that being said, oftentimes you're considered at will. And so that anytime during that first year, those first 12 days, unless you're a police officer with certain things, then you may be 2 years. But anytime during that year, the company, the organization, the state can decide that you're not a good fit, that this is not working, that you're not a good fit, that because they say that it is the probationary period is the extension of the hiring process. And this is not to say that this is good or bad. I think that it is good, because the reality of it is, it doesn't mean that you're a bad worker. It doesn't mean that you're not equipped to work. It just means that you may not be a good fit. You may not even be a good fit for that organization. I've seen people that had probationary jobs for the state, where they had probationary jobs and they were let go during the probationary period and took another state job and did well in that. That happens. It just means that you weren't a good fit there. And so that it's not. You don't want to look at it as this, oh man, they feel like I'm unemployable. It's not that. You may just not be a good fit. Just like you could be working for a good company and it may not be a good fit for you. The company may not be a good fit for you, and that is okay. You have to be okay with it that is not working out, because you are interviewing. Because when you get in a career, especially if you're trying to pursue a career, not just a job, if you're trying to pursue a career, you want to find something that allows you to excel in that career, allows you to grow in that career, allows you to learn and to grow wiser and to network. And if you feel that this is not a good fit, it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And so, but when you go on these jobs and you go in this probationary period, it's for you too. As unpopular as that may seem, that time period is for you too. Let me say it again. That time period of probationary, that probationary period is for you to make a decision too, and it's okay for you to make a decision. And most times we don't make the decision because we're not betting on ourselves. We're not looking at ourselves as our own company and really thinking, man, does this fit my lifestyle? Do they truly, I know what they said in the interview, I know what they said in the website, but does it truly fit what I believe? Does it truly fit what I believe is the right things to do, the right way, things to say? Can I fit morally? And it's okay to have those conversations, to have that thing, and to decide. That's one of the things that Cisco taught me, is to bet on myself, to look at myself as my own corporation, and no one is going to be able to sell me better than I'm going to be able to sell me. But also, no one's going to make the decisions for you like you're going to make the decisions for you. If you are waiting, a lot of times in the military, because I came from the military, I was waiting for this opportunity, that opportunity, and it doesn't work like that. You, in the corporate world, and really in any environment, you have to go get it. And the only way you're gonna go get it is if you're betting on yourself, you're looking at yourself as your own brand, your own company, as you, LLC, you, INC, Incorporated. And that is the only way you're gonna go get it. Like, there is no, I'm gonna go through the motions and this promotion is gonna come. There's no longer that. It's no longer that if I stay here for 10 years and I apply for the promotion, I'm guaranteed to get the promotion. It's no longer that kind of lifestyle. You have to go up and get it. You have to go and network. You have to go out there and meet the people. What Cisco taught me is to not be afraid to sell myself, to not be afraid to get out there and say, hey, can I have some of your time to talk to you about this? Not be afraid to go and ask someone to mentor, not to be so prideful, because the fact is that when you find a meeting, when you get a mentor and you get to talk to them, it is you once again selling yourself, but investing in yourself. But say that I've witnessed you, I saw that you had this thing about you, and that you're doing well, and I've watched you, and I feel like we match, and I want to improve myself in such a way. I want to add some of the tools that you have in your toolbox to my toolbox, so that way I can grow in this career. I'm dedicated to growing in this career. It's one of the first things I did when I decided to go in HR. I reached out to one of my mentors, Miss Sonia Sutherland, who's been in HR for a while now. She loves HR. And I said, hey, I know that typically mentors go from male to male or female to female, but I want you to be my mentor because one, I trust your word. One, she's also a woman of God. We believe and we have the same faith, and so. But she understands that part of me as well. But also, she loved HR, and I find out as I grow and I attempt to do HR. As I got my taste in the military, and I continue to search. I love HR too, and so I want someone like that. And I watched her grow. Not really watched her, but I read her story, and if you will. She told me her story of how she grew in HR and where she is now. And I said, hey, I want you to be my mentor. So whenever I have a HR question, or maybe I just need to focus and things, and what should be my next step here and there, she's the person I talk to. But that's investing in myself. And now some investing is going to be you paying for that. It's going to be you paying for a class, or you paying for coaching or whatever it is. And I'm not anti-coaching. Sometimes my wife said, she asked me, am I? But I'm not anti-coaching. I do think that certain things you're going to need a coach, you're going to need a mentor, and you're going to need to grow. And for some things, you have to go and seek the information. And so that meant sometimes that what Cisco taught me is to always be continuously learning. I've always been a fan of always learning, but that means that if I want this to be my career, if I want this to be my niche, I need to be picking the brain of people that are already doing what I'm doing. How did you get this position? What made you interested in this? What have you read? What books do you suggest? How can I grow in this position? You are betting on yourself. You have to treat yourself like your own company, and a company is not afraid to invest in itself. It's not afraid to bet on itself. When a company goes public, it is betting on it and its product. And sometimes it fails. Sometimes the reality is that sometimes when you bet on yourself, you're saying that when you believe in your product, sometimes you're going to stumble, sometimes you're going to fail. But every stumble and every fall is not a true failure. Because you're going to some things you're going to swing and miss, and you're going to find that you're not a good fit. That it's not a good fit. You swung at you applied for this job and you swung and it's not a good fit. It's just not. It's not what you thought it would be, and that's okay. The first thing not the first thing. One of the other things you have to do when you're betting on yourself, when you are on your probation, you're putting a job on this probation or a company on this probationary period for you. When you're investing in yourself, you have to be okay realizing that sometimes you're going to miss. Everyone is not going to be a home run. Sometimes you're going to strike out. But what I learned in baseball is that when you get up to the plate the next time, you can't be so focused on the last time you were up to bat. You cannot be focused so much on the last time you were up to bat that it restricts and it handicaps you from focusing on the pitches, the next 3 pitches in front of you. Don't worry about you swung and miss. It's fine. In fact, when you're up to bat and you swing out the first, when you not even strike out the first time, you swing and get your first strike, you have to let go of that first strike out you. When you have to block it out. You have to block out the misses and realize that you're gonna have some misses. No one hits a home run every time. No one. I don't care who you are. No one hits a home run every time. No one hits the 3 every time. No matter how prolific of a scorer you are, no matter how prolific of a batter you are, you're gonna miss sometimes. You're gonna strike out. Sometimes you're gonna hit the ball and you're gonna feel like you're good. You hit the base and they get you out on second base, and it's okay because you have to be okay swinging and missing. You have to be okay stumbling because even though some companies have strong starts out the gate and then they level off. And then some of them level off and then they dive. But they keep on chipping away. If you look at Apple, the company Apple, they started off strong, and then if you think about it, like in the like the mid to late 90s, people weren't talking about Apple computers like that. People like now, everyone, like the Mac is the computer to have. But I remember the junction from when we had Mac computers in school to we had regular PCs, and we didn't see Macs for a while. Very few people had Macs. I remember one of the few people that had that Macs were my godparents, and he was a Mac guy. Everyone was PC, but he stayed on his Macintosh. But there was this time and so imagine Steve Jobs and the investors, and they're like, man, this is good. this is good, this is good, this is good, and then all of a sudden it sinks and it's not doing as well as it did. What if they did not stop? We would not have the advent of the invention of the iPhone and the iPad and the iCloud, the Apple ecosystem, where I'm recording this on the iPhone and I have a MacBook at home and all these different devices. But they bet on themselves. They sunk a little bit, but they kept on chipping away. And I'm going to let you know right now, what Cisco taught me is that there's going to be some people that you ask for time, there's going to be some people that you ask for your mentor, there's going to be some things that you try out and you're going to fail. But it was not really a failure. It's just a swing and a miss. So it's not going to, like, there's people I ask for time, and I ask for time and I ask for time, and I never got a chance to speak to them. Never talked to them. Nope, like, never. To this day, like they said, promise time, they gave me the idea what to do, and they kind of passed me off to someone else, and that's okay. But I learned the lesson in that. What did you learn in that lesson? Like when you swung, like if you learned the lesson, you didn't really miss. You maybe you foul ball, you got a piece of the ball. I'm just sticking with this baseball analogy. You're learning from it. Okay, that time I swung too fast. I swung too slow on this one. I'm gonna bring it through on this one. You learn the lesson, but block out the miss. You learn the lesson, but block out the miss. Now it's gonna be painful. You're betting on yourself, and it's gonna be scary sometimes. Because generally when you bet on yourself, you're using your own money, you're using your own time, you're using your own resources. But you have to do it. You have to treat yourself like your own brand. I mean, as I really continue to think that really gets in my brain and in my head is that we are our own company. And we're worth having too. I'm gonna say it again. You're your own company and you're worth having too. Like oftentimes we look at the job and think the job is worth having. But you're worth having too. And you have to have some esteem about who you are and what you offer. Now, sometimes we have too much high self-esteem, we have delusions of grandeur and think that we're the best thing since sliced bread and that no one can do it better than us, and that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you have to have some I do my job well, and that I'm a hard worker, that I'm a caring worker, and that people should desire for me to be their employee rather. And if they're not producing at the level that I think they should be producing, if they're not providing the things that I think they should be providing, it's time for me to look elsewhere. And for some of you, you're gonna have to look elsewhere while you're working there, and that's fine. You should always be looking to grow. And sometimes you may be looking elsewhere inside the company. You may not want to be on that team, and that's fine too. Because you are your own company. And you have to go out there and treat yourself like you're your own company. And you have to go out there and be interviewing the job. So oftentimes when we get on the interview, we have maybe 3 or 4 questions. We're not interviewing the job itself. We're not asking questions like, what is your culture? Because they'll ask you questions, tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, tell us a little bit, can you tell me, because yes, you're doing research, but let's get it from a first person, somebody that's in it. I went on an interview and I said, hey, tell me what is it that you love about the job? What is it that you love? Because you are interviewing them as well. Because you are worth having. You are, just like they're hiring you, you're hiring them. Because really you're in a contract, if you will. You are offering your services and they're offering their money. Right? You're offering your services, so it is in a sense a barter system where you work for them and they pay you for your work. This whole episode is about changing your mindset about your 9 to 5. Because as much as I encourage, as much as I love entrepreneurship, I realize that everyone's not going to be an entrepreneur. Someone's going to be an employee. So, because my hope is to be both. My hope is to have the ability to employ people, but in some place I'm going to be an employee. So even if I'm doing contract work, if I'm doing consulting work, I am now, while I'm my own business, I am also contracted, and I now work for this person because we are trading, we're bartering. I'm giving services, they're giving me money. And so you have to look at it like that. Stop looking at yourself as this island, and that you need the job because they need you too. And just like they can say they don't need you, you don't necessarily need them. You just need to find somewhere else to provide your services for. You are your own company. You are your own. You have to bet in yourself. You have to look at yourself as your name LLC, your name incorporated, your name nonprofit, whatever it is, or whatever it is that you're going to do. That is you. And as you begin to change that perspective, begin to look at yourself like that, you'll begin to look at jobs differently. But at the same time, and I must add this caveat, at the same time, just like the company, the organization, the state, whatever it is, they believe that they are a good company, a good place to work because of what they provide and what they do. You have to believe. You can't just believe that you're a good company, that you're a good person, that you are worth having as well. But don't bring anything to the table. That you're not hard worker. You're not producing when you get to that table. I must add that because, like, oftentimes we just believe that we have this entitlement, and this is not like. Oftentimes, this is millennials have the idea of entitlement. They have a sense of entitlement. Everyone at some junction in life probably have a sense of entitlement. In some form or fashion. Some of it is not in work. Some of it's in their relationships. That they deserve that. They just know that they're a good man. That they just know that they're a good woman, and they have not brought anything to the table. And that's another side. We may talk about relationships. Because I actually had another subject that I want to talk about, and I'm going to bring that up next week. But really, it is those things that. What do you bring to the table? You have to bring something to the table. And when you bring it to the table, write it down. Write down what you bring to the table. Just like a company writes down what they offer, what makes them good employers. Write down what makes you a good employee. What I want you to do right now, pause the video or come back to this video, or when you finish the video, write down what makes you a good employee in your career field. If you're switching careers, what makes you a good intern? What makes you a good apprentice? Write those things down, both tangible and intangible. Write those things down. And as you write them down, remember that you are really truly worth. I made the wrong turn. You're worth having, and you have to treat yourself that way. Stop treating yourself as if that you're not your own company. Stop treating yourself as that you don't bring anything to the table. Stop going on these jobs, taking these probationary periods, and you're not investigating, and you're not seeing anyway. Because what ends up happening is you don't utilize the probationary period to its fullest, and to begin to really look and dissect that company, that job, to see if it's a good fit for you. Man, what's their hours? What is their life-work balance? Because they're going to tell you all these things, but your probationary period is to see if they have good life balance. And I know sometimes it's hard because it's like, man, I'm looking for a job. I need to pay bills, and I get that. But during that probationary period, you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell. And use it. Because you're your own company. You're betting on yourself, and you're worth having. Change your perspective. Begin to realize that you're your own LLC. You're your own incorporated. Your own corporation. And believe in it. Believe in yourself. What do you bring to the table? Write that down. And then you'll begin to see why you're worth having. God bless you. God love you. And I hope that this helped you. Thank you for another episode of Car Conversation with Cloyed. Until next time, remember, never let your independence rob you from your independence on God.